everyone. Welcome back to Embody Your Empress, the podcast here to open up your mind, shift perspectives, and invite new courageous ideas to come flowing in. I'm Sarah King, the founder of Empress Nation and the host of Embody Your Empress. And today we have a wonderful guest joining us, Radka Crossley. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
You are so welcome. I hear that you're in a beautiful winter wonderland over there, and I'm actually in the middle of summer, so I'm sweating, and we're complete opposite ends of the spectrum at the moment. So welcome. Now,
Thank
your expertise is guiding people back to their own power, their own empowerment, and future joy, embodying the presence. Do you want to tell us a bit about you, your journey, and how you came to be doing this beautiful mission in life?
Sure. I actually came to it about I don't know, 5 years ago, when I think that was basically lockdown, when things were going around me, and I just kept being in this space of, why is this always happening to me? Why is it always me that's got this thing going on? Why are my friends just swimming through life while everything just keeps collapsing on top of me? Why me? Why again? And it was just that constantly running through my head. And then I was having a bit of difficulties with my teenage daughter at the time. And at the time, we didn't know that she was actually on the spectrum, autistic spectrum, but she was really quite difficult to handle. And I started looking for people to help her. And I was in a really dark space myself. I had just left my abusive marriage and things. And I reached out to one lady who was a hypnotherapist, and she wanted to, work with me. And I said, no, I don't need help. I don't need help. I need help for my daughter. And she's like, well, when you're ready for help for yourself, you know where I am, reach out. And I'm like, how dare she? I don't need any help, and I just thought, no, I'm fine, I'm all right, I'm all good. And then as synchronicities would have it, this lady popped up on my Facebook when everything started to move online, and she was talking about this thing that I had no idea about called EFT. And she said, I'm starting this new, need some people to kind of be my testers, in exchange of something they can do for me. So like a free thing, and you tell me what you can offer me, and we see if we can work together. So I'm like, well, I've got nothing to lose. And so I offered her my photography. I can supply you with photos for anything you need. And so yeah, started working with her, and it was all about releasing the emotions, the stored pain that your body's holding on to. And that was a whole new concept to me. And it was starting to open my eyes week by week. I just started to see layers and layers of things that I had held in and I didn't even realize. And after a few weeks, I realized I see what that hypnotherapist meant when she said that. When it all started falling into place, and yeah, it was a huge healing experience, and it just kind of went on from there. And I also realized I had been stuffing my intuitive gifts away for many years because I was living in survival mode for, I don't know, excuse me, I've got hair in my mouth, uh, for decades. And everything that I remember from like my teens and things where I was really intuitive, it all started coming back to me. And it showed me how much of ourselves we really suppress when we're just constantly trying to survive from one day to the next. And we feel like the world's like falling on top of us. And yeah, it took me even further from there, starting to do a program on like manifesting from your soul rather than from what you think you should want, but from what your soul deeply desires. And then it brought me into this healing space where I felt like this is possible. You can come from that to the way you feel now. And that felt like my calling, support other people because I discovered that yes, you don't have to live like that. Yes, it is in your power to just go and change it when you're ready. Sometimes it just takes one person to say one thing, and suddenly things click in your mind, and you go, yeah, yeah, that's what I want for myself. And yeah, I support people when they choose to step onto that path.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I would love to ask, at the start, you were saying, why is it always me? Why does it always happen? Do you still have those thoughts now?
No, no, absolutely not. Yeah, that's such a liberating way to be, like, oh, this has happened. I wonder what he's trying to show me. Where can I go with this now? Where is the lesson in that? Or rather teaching, because, lesson doesn't sound like a nice thing to have, but, what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's not me just saying it. I actually do like embody it, live it, because sometimes people can come into this and force it and think, suppress the, I shouldn't be feeling like this, and try and pretend that they're okay when they're not. And there's a huge difference. But when you actually start living it, when that's your way of being, that's the liberating moment when you actually know, yeah, that happened. That was a bit crap. How am I going to deal with that? Um,
Yeah.
Things will happen. Crap will happen to you. It's not always going to be roses. That's not how world lives. Even when you feel like I've healed, you will come into challenges. It's about how you face them.
Oh, absolutely. And being curious about what those challenges are and what the learning is, I find it fascinating. Like, because I used to get stuck in that a very similar mindset, like, why is it always happening to me? And I kept playing through the cycle, and I'm like, this one again. What? And I couldn't get past this lesson keeps repeating, and I wasn't going deep enough. I wasn't being curious enough. I wasn't fully leaning into it for the lesson to completely play out and for it to finish the cycle and to move on to the next adventure. So I thought that was really curious too. I love that feeling the emotions rather than pushing them down, because we society told us for a long time, push it down, push down emotions, they don't really matter, they're just, they're nothing. Oh, so many conditionings around crying, especially as children. Don't cry, don't be weak, don't allow any anger to show. That was very ingrained and still is with some people. But I love that you mentioned it, like, to be able to grow spiritually, you have to feel it. You have to
Yeah,
play with it. So that's
absolutely.
kind of,
Sorry, go on.
no, no, no.
I was going to say I actually grew up not even knowing my emotions, because yeah, there was no space for feeling angry or feeling upset or feeling anything, to be fair. And the emotional support that children really need to learn how to be secure and thrive in adulthood. I didn't have that growing up. So when I ended up in my abusive marriage, I didn't even know what I was feeling. I just know that I just felt upset all the time, but I couldn't name my feelings, name my emotions, and it wasn't safe for me to even express them anyway during my marriage. So everything got stuffed in. And you can't heal from that space of always just talking about this happened, without actually allowing these emotions to come out and, you know, play out. Even if it looks messy. It looks messy when you come onto that journey of letting all of these emotions out. And I've learned that through EFT when I started, and there was so much, and I was having these meltdowns. And I thought, this is not good. I have to stop this. And my tutor would go, no, actually, this is the right thing to do. You were releasing what you've held in for so long. And that's where the healing is. And then you start understanding your emotions. And then you start learning how to release them in a, healthy way, or in a way that's not scaring people around you anymore. So you're holding on to anger, you release that anger, but not in a way that affects other people. Yeah, if that makes sense, if that follows from what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. How can someone, like, go deep into that journey and feel safe?
Yes, actually, I started when I did my somatic trauma informed training. We touched onto IFS. internal family systems. And I find that really fascinating. So for me, I'm sure there are many ways that people can, but for me, that is the most gentle and fascinating way, because you work with those emotions or these behaviors that we have as individual parts, as something that you acquired in order to protect yourself going through life, you know. And they're not you, those emotions are not you. And if you manage to separate yourself from them and then gently work with them and allow yourself to feel them and make friends with them, if that makes sense, you know, okay, I feel all this anger, and make friends with that anger, because you know it's there, it's been there your life to protect you from feeling something painful. And in that way, you can then slowly release it. But there are so many other ways, like with EFT, that's such a gentle way of moving emotions through your body, because, you know, emotions are stored in your body, aren't they? And with EFT, you are actually literally starting to move the meridian. So it's like the vibration in your body actually allow the emotions to come out safely. For me, for example, I know that I'm moving emotions because I start doing a lot of yawning. People think they're boring me. But yeah, yawning is one way of releasing emotions. Or, you know, tears come out and nose starts running. That's me. That's me knowing that I'm releasing emotions. It is about moving them through your body for me personally. And I'm sure there are all other modalities that will tell you, you know, you can release them this way. But the most important thing in all of that is allowing yourself to feel them. And we can be really scared of that, can't we? You know, I'm feeling really upset. And I remember days, I've got a partner now, and we're both actually working on our attachment styles. And I realized through my work how anxious I used to be. And, you know, he's not texted me all day. And I'm sat there, you know, what's happening now? Why is he leaving me? Well, he wasn't. He was busy. Yeah. But my body was immediately thinking, this is what's happening to me, because yeah, I've got a huge abandonment wounds from my childhood. Um, and instead, in the past, I would be like, why are you not replying? Why are you not texting? Getting myself all frazzled in my head. I'd be sat there thinking, that feels upsetting. Let's, you know, let's just breathe through that upset. Everything will be okay, and everything will explain itself. And, you know, 2 hours later, I'll get a call, sorry, babe, I've been busy all day. Here I am. And there was no need for that emotion to be there, but because my deep wounds were like, you being abandoned in this moment, they started to play out, and there was no need for that to happen. And if you start understanding them and attend to them as they are happening, why are you there? And rather than like, why are you doing this to me? Why is this emotion here? You know, the I've learned how big a difference in the why they can be. They can be, you know, like, why are you doing this? Or rather, why are you doing this? What is the purpose behind it? You know, the way the why is presented, the intention behind the question is everything. You know, right? Is it judgment or is it curiosity?
I love how gentle that is, especially when you've been through trauma. I know some people can feel like to move through it, to feel it, it has to be completely ripped open and like re traumatizing. However, there are so many modalities that hold you in a really gentle space to allow you to heal what you need to without having to rip everything open and have it all on display. Um, can you explain to us, if anyone listening has not heard of EFT before, what exactly it is?
Well, the way that my tutor said, if people really don't get it, because it can sound a bit woo-woo to people, just say it's like acupuncture without needles, right? So it's tapping on certain meridian points on your body, which are connected to some of your organs, like spleen, heart, lungs, intestine, stomach. Um, and the belief is that these organs are connected to certain emotions, right? You know, your anger, sadness, grief, abandonment, all sorts of emotions you can think of, frustration, you know, resentment. And so when you're feeling all of these emotions or any of them, and you work with EFT, you're tapping on these specific meridians that are connected to these organs and to these emotions. And you are actually talking about accepting those emotions and accepting they've been there for your good, in your best interest, and then releasing them. And it's such a gentle way. And because obviously it's connected to the polyvagal theory that, all of these organs are sending messages into our subconscious brain. And it's not just about messages about how they should function, like obviously your heart needs to beat to keep you alive and your lungs need to pump air in and out to keep you alive. But they also send these emotions into your subconscious brain, storing them there. And with this work, you are letting them to start moving and start being processed on a conscious level. If that makes sense. Is that an explanation good enough?
Great
I could give
explanation.
you, if it helps, I can give you a real life example. When I was doing my training and we were focusing specifically on a heart meridian, and so you've got your abandonment and your loneliness emotions connected to heart. And so we tapped on that, and I had a memory come to my mind about something that happened to me on my honeymoon. And obviously, I remember the event, but as I was tapping on and this started to play out on my mind, and these emotions started to flood me, this abandonment and being alone and loneliness. And it just absolutely floored me because what I didn't consciously realize is that my subconscious stored it as me abandoning myself in that moment, because my husband, very fresh husband at the time, was not very nice to me in that moment. But my subconscious stored it as, but you stayed, you allowed that to happen. You abandoned yourself in that moment because you didn't walk away and you continued for another 18 years. And that was such a huge realization because consciously I would have never made those connections. And that allowed me to release a lot of pain that I didn't even realize I had. Yeah, it's very liberating.
Very powerful, very powerful. Yeah, I came across EFT like a number of years ago, and I was talking about it recently to my boyfriend, and he was just like, "What are you talking about, Sarah?" He had no idea; he'd never come across it before. So I was really curious from a trained person what the technical terms was, because I sort of like I can mumble through it and I can do the actions, and I
Mm.
can say the experiences that I've had, but that was a beautiful way of explaining like the background of it all. It's yeah, very good. The clients that you see, what are the commonalities that present with, their starting point on their journeys and what they can move through with you?
I wouldn't say I have any commonalities as such, but most of them do come with some deep-seated wounds that have been playing out for them throughout their life, and they can't really understand why. Why is this happening? Why can't I just stop it? And why are my manifestations and affirmations not working? Uh, and a lot of them will come with things like, I am always angry, or I'm always just blowing out, or I am always feeling guilty for something. And I'm just affirming, and it's not working. And my answer will always be, it's like putting plaster on a, you know, the word has just left my mind, on a weeping wound. It's not going to cure it. You need to open it to let it breathe, to let it heal in the open. And it is about removing those emotions. And for example, what you were saying before, allowing the emotions process safely. I had a client just yesterday actually, and we went into hypnosis, and her body suddenly decided it was feeling super unsafe in that moment because she had been storing this sense of, I am not safe whatever I do, for years and decades. And she was having a panic attack in actual hypnosis, and I brought her out. Well, she brought herself out because hypnosis, that's safe. You are always in control. So she actually brought herself out from that hypnosis. And then we did some breathing, but I let her feel that emotion first for a little bit before I brought her into a calm state through breathing and through other somatic practices, so that she actually did that for herself. I said, you see, you did that. You brought yourself down from those emotions. You don't need me. You can learn how to do it for yourself. Um, and it is about removing the things deep in your subconscious that are actually blocking you from having those affirmation work for you, if that makes sense. Because you can't festering wound. That's what I was looking for. You can't put a plaster on a festering wound, because yeah, it doesn't work, and it will always resurface. And if you're forcing what we've said earlier, if you're forcing a certain attitude, you will always get triggered into a reaction when something happens that reminds you of why that attitude's there in the first place, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Um, so anyway, to go back to your question, I'm good at going off on a tangent. um,
What were
I,
you doing?
I help people who keep going around in circles over the same thing over and over, like what you said before. Why is this happening? Why is this lesson repeating itself? And they may have tried different things like, counseling or talking therapy or anything, and nothing seems to work because we need to go deep down into the subconscious to remove
Mm.
um, the core issue. And yeah, I don't seem to specialize. People come to me with a lot of things.
Good. I feel like someone out there listening has had that. Why is it happening to me? And then they've hit play and they're hearing this, so it's helping them. Do you have like a good somatic practice that anyone can do if they're feeling highly anxious at any moment of the day?
Oh, your volume's just suddenly cut out. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
No, can't hear you.
That's really weird. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Good. Okay, technology's fun.
No idea what happened there, but
Oh, that's so bizarre. I was Is there a really good, easy to use somatic practice that someone that's feeling a bit anxious throughout their day can just grab and use?
yes, there's a few. We call it butterfly tap or bilateral stimulation, which is a really good calming one.
Mm.
And this is what I taught the lady, my client yesterday, which she found super, super helpful because it empowers you. You know you've got a tool right there for you in the moment when you need it. And it is called a butterfly hug, where you give yourself a hug and you tap alternately, not at the same time. So you're sending signals to your brain, to your left and right hemisphere at the various stages. So basically your brain has to focus on that rather than seeing, looking straight ahead. And you can even visualize things like a calm space or a figure that you find nurturing or comforting at the same time. And this may not be okay for everyone. Some people might feel unsafe when they have to give themselves a hug, or it may look a bit weird if you're in a meeting and you suddenly go, hmm. You can do the same thing, just squeezing your nails if you've got long enough nails, or just fingers into your palms so that you actually feel it. You are
Okay.
bilaterally stimulating your brain into realizing that it's safe. So this can be done,
So
without
still
us even noticing. Yeah, just,
alternate hand squeezing in.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's really cool. That's a bit
So
easier if you're in a meeting. You can hide
yeah,
that under
that's
the
yeah,
table.
yeah.
Perfect. That's really cool. All right. We've mentioned manifesting, and that's what everyone loves. But I love how you said manifesting from the soul, what the soul needs rather than the surface level. So if someone was having some trouble getting to that soul level manifestation, what tips would you give them?
Well, what my mentor on this has basically how she absolutely got me into this was we had a meditation. It was a group work, but we did a meditation. Is it okay to drop her name? She's absolutely fabulous.
Right.
Roxanne Miranda. She is brilliant, and she basically did this meditation where we met our future self. Um, and we the future self told us about the year she's had. So it was, uh, and then you kind of hear what the soul's telling you, what your soul's image of what life could be like in the future is. Um, so for me, it was basically supporting and helping people. And rather than me thinking, oh, I could do with having this and I could do with having that, you go into this deep meditation and actually meet your future self telling you what it's been like in the last year or so. Um, and yeah, a lot of people actually, when they do this, realize that that's nothing like I imagined, my soul would say. Um, and I think even if you don't do it that way, actually tuning into yourself, taking time and meditating, or even just like switching everything off and like I'm looking at these beautiful trees around me, just let the nature come in and just silence the mind and just tune into your body. Sometimes it will tell you without even having to meditate what
Mm,
feels right for you. Um, because I think we're all good at seeing what other people are doing and thinking, yes, I want that for myself. But that's your conscious mind telling you rather than your soul.
absolutely. Yes, I had a moment midway through the year where I ripped down my vision boards because I was just like, that's not in alignment anymore. The version of me that created that, she's outdated. That's not what she needs, not what she desires, not what's for her anymore. And I just ripped them down. And it felt so liberating. And I was just like, have to do a vision board for the year. Like I had put all the structure on it. And I was just like, you know what? No, it's not what soul's saying anymore. So I just ripped it off, ripped it up, got rid of it. I'm like, this is fantastic. Like, it was such a liberating feeling to come into my power and just be present with what what am I calling her now? It's not that. It's not that version of me anymore. She is like quantum jumped into other things that at that time I just didn't know. And so it was a great lesson in being able to tune in again and not waiting for like the new year, new me sort of like big hurrah that everyone gets on board with. It was just like, right now, this is for me. And it was really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Because then you're not going from what's right for you. The society says new year, new me. That's where we start. But then that's not really in alignment with what your soul desires. And sometimes it's okay that our path changes, and it's okay if what we've been creating no longer feels like ours because we evolve, we change. That's the whole purpose. And if that doesn't really make us happy anymore, then why force it? Because the moment you start forcing it, it's not coming from the soul, it's coming from ego. And the more you force something, the more resistance you're going to meet. It absolutely works that way. So yeah, there's no shame in saying that doesn't really align with me anymore. I think that's exactly what you said. You follow your soul.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be going, why is it always me? Why is it never happening? I
Why
can
is
see
my
how it
business
just all
failing
in
again?
one. Why?
Yeah,
Learn the lesson, Sarah. Just be present. Throw it
yeah,
out.
absolutely.
I love it. Thank you. I have a couple of questions to finish up our conversation. So, Radka, how do you embody your empress?
I listen to my soul. I know that I am always in charge of how things go for me. And if I sometimes feel like I want to drop into that, why me? I remind myself, no, you know why? This is a lesson. This is something that's been put in here for you to see just how well you can handle it. And I just go out there without caring what other people think of my action. without actually obviously impacting other people. Yeah.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
That's beautiful. I love that. Absolutely. Fantastic. And what does your Empress energy feel like for you?
Oh, she's free. She is liberated. She loves to dance. I do actually always dance no matter what. And it for me that is, I know that sounds really silly, but for me that is huge because like just a few years ago, I couldn't even dance, and I always thought, oh, people are looking and I look stupid, and now I actually don't care. And people actually wait for me to start dancing so they can follow. I love to go and watch live bands in small pubs in the UK. We've got this thing where bands come to small pubs and play all sorts of music. And I'm always there dancing because I just love dancing. For me, that's the expression of the freedom within
Mm.
you, apart from the fact that dancing is actually really good somatic practice, releasing stored emotions. For me, that's the ultimate expression of freedom. And for me to see the difference between me now and me a few years ago when it comes to dancing, it kind of personifies how far I've come. Yeah.
I can totally resonate with that. At my darkest, like one of my darkest nights of the soul, like I had signed up for a belly dancing class and, I was postpartum with my second child. And I'm like, it's very hips. And they say trauma is stored in the hips. And I'm like, why can't I
Mhm.
shake these hips like when I was younger, I used to be more free, like free flowing. And I just could not move them and I couldn't get past it. And then a few months later, the world fell apart, everything burnt to the ground. And I'm like, no wonder the hips couldn't move because I had been
Yeah.
pushing it all down and it had just like completely compacted. And then my movement came back to me and it was liberating and it was freedom and it was so feminine and it was joyful. And that is one of the most common answers I get to that question, is dance and movement. And I think we undervalue how important that is for our
Mhm.
feminine and to bring it into everyday life. I've just started dancing around the house again. Like I'm just like, no music, just like dancing down the hallway. And I know when I'm doing that, I'm in my highest expression.
Yes, absolutely. And I've made it my business sometimes when there are challenges and life seems to be a bit dense. I
Mm-hmm.
make it even more of my business to put music on and dance for a few minutes because I know that it will give me that energy to feel like, yeah, of course this is okay. I know it's a challenge, but I know that we get through this. We've got through so much worse. We will. And yeah, it's great what you've said about Dark Night of the Soul because those are, oh, yeah, they hurt.
I
But
do.
when you come to a certain stage, and I'm assuming this is where you're at now, when you hit it, I know that this is just as this is me forcing a doorway open into something better, and this door is really heavy, and I'm sweating and I'm panting trying to open it, but I know that it's a door to something even better. That's how I see them, and yeah, I'm not scared of them anymore.
Now I've had a few now, so I know that there is magic on the other side. You just got to keep riding that way through. And, it's that being curious again, like we said at the beginning, like it's being curious of the darkness and the crumble and the burning, and just knowing that having faith that whatever is not meant to be will fall away and that's going to be okay. Great. And my last question for you: what are your parting words of wisdom for your nation?
Oh, um, hmm. You are always in charge of how things go for you. Even if it doesn't feel like that in the moment, you have got the power to make the changes that you want to make for yourself. That's the empowerment, knowing that whatever's happening right now is in your control. And I don't know, I know it sounds weird, but when I say everything's happening or evolving exactly as it should, it really is, because even if it feels really dark right now, there's a huge lesson in it. And if you choose to take that lesson, if you choose to alchemize what's happening to you right now and grow from it and use it as your springboard, if you've been into the dark place, you have got a bigger chance of getting into a light, because it's like as below, so beneath, so above, you know,
Mm.
there has to be a balance. So the darker the dark, the lighter the light.
Beautiful. And that has just brought hope to so many people out there going through the darkness.
I
Thank
hope.
you, Radka. I've loved this conversation. There's so many um, beautiful things that you've talked into and taught us about. And I love the different variety of modalities that you bring together to help people with. And it just shows that there is an option for everyone. Healing is not one size fits all. It's about finding that one that you connect with. And then if that leads you to another, then exploring that. Or if you want to go deeper into something, that whatever your healing journey is for you is unique and so beautiful. And that there are amazing people like yourself to hold you in those spaces where you are safe to feel and to be and to have your freedom again. So thank you so
Oh,
much, Radka.
thank you so much for inviting me. It's been so lovely chatting with you and getting to know you as well. So yeah, thank you. And yeah, you've got lots of wisdom that I'm going to walk away with as well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.